Okay, second voiceover time. I hate long intros, so we're just gonna get into it. The only thing I want to say is, it's a grass video, so expect controversy. That's all. Okay, we actually had 24 champs this year. I feel like a bunch of years it's been more or less than 24, but 24 is the perfect number because it makes most sense. So unlucky number 24 is Shuri. Shuri has just a lot of utility, but the problem is she has completely, utterly horrible damage until like 2 minutes into the fight. And even once you get to that 2 minutes, it's not going to be better than most Everest content damage dealers. So the only good thing about it is I think she's really easy to rebalance. You really just need to tune up the shock damage, so it'll be a lot better when you have little for shorter fights, but then when you get to the longer fights, it's actually a champ you might want to consider using in Everest content, because right now it's what she's made for, but I don't think people are going to choose her over other champs like even Infinity Man, and he's getting buffed too, so that's Shuri. Number 23 is Sauron. I wish Sauron was around when rebalancing existed, because once again, this is another really easy one, I think. Double the prowess damage, make them 20% instead of 10%, and then you've got a pretty good champion. Sauron right now isn't even terrible. He's weird. He's a mutant, so he's very underwhelming in comparison, but he's got a very cool awaken ability, which gives him a niche, but it's a very small niche to where it doesn't happen very often. And you need a niche is cool, but you have to have one that happens somewhat often, and his just doesn't. So, he's a very usable champion, but yeah, I just don't think he's very good, and I think most people would agree with me on that. Okay, next is Captain Sam. I know a lot of people actually really like this guy. I don't. I don't think he's very good. He's a lot like Shuri, but he's better because he's used in more shorter content, which shorter content is a lot of the best areas of the game, like Battlegrounds and Alliance War. And I like to do these by the way KT1 says, where Battlegrounds is a third of the game, Alliance War is a third of the game, and then the rest is the other third. And I think that's pretty fair because of how important those pieces of content are. But for Captain Sam, he's good in Alliance War. I think he's too slow for Battlegrounds, but I don't even know if he's very good in Alliance War. He's okay. I don't think he's bad, but I don't like him. I think his damage is really bad, honestly, and yeah, I just don't think he's very usable. It still pains me that this guy was not tuned up. You can't use him besides Labyrinth. In Abyss, you're gonna run out of hit counts before he's really good. And, well, maybe not, because he is a one-hit heavy, but in Labyrinth is where he's mainly used, and you can't use him in Battlegrounds, he's too slow. You really can't use him in Alliance where he's too slow. Story content, Story content, he'd be decent in, I guess, but, I'm so sad that they didn't tune him up. It's really annoying. Longest. That's all I'm gonna say. Attuma has the smallest niche that might actually exist. He's good at countering when ability accuracy is negated, which rarely ever happens. He's good when that happens, so I'll give him that. But once again, it's a champion who takes too long to ramp up, and once you get there, it's good damage, but it's nothing game-breaking. So I think he's more usable in medium-length fights. I think he'd be pretty good in story content, to be honest. Alliance War, probably not. Battlegrounds, definitely not. And yeah, He's new, but still, I just don't think he's gonna shine very high. It's the moment you've all been waiting for, the moment I get to talk about Captain Britain. Captain Britain is the most underrated champion in the entire game. I'm saying it right now. And what, she's still just out of the bottom 5 of the year? That's just, in my mind, that's just how good 2022 was. Captain Britain is amazing. She absolutely mauls any shrugger in the entire game that can do it somewhat consistently. You've got Kingpin, you've got Mole Man, you've got Agent Venom. There are other people I can't even think of right now, but I love Captain Britain. She was my first rank 4. She is a good champion. I hate when people say that she's garbage. I see it every day. Yes, she could have been tuned up, and it's so stupid that they had rebalancing delayed 1 month for absolutely no reason, and she couldn't. I would have tuned her up, but I still think she's absolutely amazing right now. But she's not even outside of the bottom 6. That's just how good 2022 was. I don't have a lot to say about Misty except that she's unblockable and has guaranteed crits the entire fight, which is a utility that I don't think anyone really has. Obviously the guaranteed crits people do, but unblockable besides Nick and I guess Strife as a horseman, no, I don't think it's a thing. There might be someone I'm forgetting, but she can get it really quickly, and it's really good for Battlegrounds because you're not going to be using a Nick on attack, very rarely at least, and Strife obviously can't be a horseman. So in Battlegrounds, when you need someone with easy unblockable, you can just use Misty, and I wouldn't say her damage is amazing, but just it's really good to have though, and that's all I'm going to say about her. I know there's this big Wiccan hype train, but I'm not on it. I think he's really just, a lot of people like him because of these stupid unblockable null bosses, which yeah, he's great for. He can block unblockable attacks, that's amazing, but his damage still isn't very good. And I've seen it, there's always going to be that one fight where people are like, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing, and I think he's going to be a great boss killer. But a questing champ, no. A Battlegrounds champ, you've got... he's good when he's good, but when he isn't, he's really bad. And Alliance War, obviously, he's pretty decent, but it's just he's very situational. That's not even a word. Situational. And Captain Britain also is, but, you know, I don't like Wiccan, so I'm just gonna put him there. Currently, the newest champion in the entire game, Jessica Jones, is a science champ that's very odd because I wouldn't say any of the debuffs she actually inflicts matter towards her kit. You know, when you throw them off the special one, they're just kind of there. They don't really do anything. But she's good in medium and longer length fights, but it's pretty good damage, but like it's nothing game breaking, and she doesn't really have a lot of utility besides going unstoppable a lot, which, you know, that's always good, but she's just above average champion. Like, I think most of these champs are above average. I'd say Captain Britain and above are above average, but, you know, it's a grass video, I'm gonna say that. I'm just gonna put this guy here, but I honestly have absolutely no idea how he works. His kit confuses me so much, but I'm pretty sure he's decent, so that's all. Toad is Captain Britain, but a lot less limited, which, when Captain Britain and Toad go against Shruggers, I'm pretty sure that Captain Britain's gonna be the better option, because a lot of, you know, Toad's gonna have a lot of damage, but Captain Britain gets unstoppable constantly, which is good, and I think that their damage is basically equal. But Toad's a lot more usable when there isn't shrugging, and that's really the only reason I'm gonna place him higher than her. But I don't even like Toad that much. I think he's fine, but I'm gonna put him here. I don't even know what number right now. Now I'm gonna look in a second. I just checked. We're doing 13 now. Black Cat's good. I've seen people say that she's better than Falcon on the internet, actually, and they could be right. I hate Falcon, mostly because I think his animations are some of the most boring animations in the entire game. And yes, that is a factor to when I actually rank up a champion, but Black Cat, I don't know if she's better than Falcon. She probably isn't, but she's really good though. When there's ability accuracy to fail, I think Black Cat's gonna be better. But yeah. Also, I've been doing a Ken Burns zoom in for all these champions, and Black Cat's isn't sus at all. I'm just gonna say that. I went from absolutely hating this champion to absolutely loving this champion. When she was released and I saw how her kit worked, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know, she's not good. And then I got her from a 6-star featured. I got Galen, Gore, Valkyrie, and Titania from the featured, so I don't have a Wiccan or a Quicksilver. But those 4, Titania was the one I played with last. And I wish I did her earlier because I wouldn't have hated her so much had I played her before. And I think she's really good though. Probably the best buff immune champ in the game. Mr. Negative isn't really buff immune, but if you consider him part of that group, because if he dashes back, he gets rid of a buff, then he'd be better. But I think Titania is actually really, really, really good. Mantis is weird. She's got really, really, really good short fight damage. In mediums and longer fights, it starts to fall off, kind of like how Galen's would, but she's got some cool utility, especially against a bunch of science champs, and that's really all I have to say is that she's really good at countering science champs, and then has amazing short fight damage, which it makes an amazing champion, so it's perfectly fine. Starting the top 10 is Quicksilver, and Quicksilver, I thought he was absolutely OP when he first came out, and then I realized he's not good in Battlegrounds. He's gonna be good in Alliance War, that's of course, and he's good in most other contents, but he just takes a while. He takes a minute to ramp up, and in Battlegrounds that's a lot just to ramp. Well, I keep second guessing myself during this video and I hate it. He's got a lot of utility. Maybe I should have him higher. This is where he's gonna be now, but if I ever make another list and I get my mind changed by all the angry comments I'm going to receive, he might go up. I just don't like him very much. It's not even because of like the long combo and all the normal reasons people hate Quicksilver. I just don't think his kit is fast enough like he should be. And he's still unbelievable. Like once you get to that burst of damage, it's kind of ridiculous, but that's what I'm going to say about Quicksilver. And it's basically the same thing I have to say about Spot, to be honest. Spot is just Quicksilver. He's got plenty of utility. Not as much, but what Spot does is that he's an absolute nuke in short quests, short fights, and his block proficiency is completely insane. You can just tank so many specials on the block. Quicksilver, you could dex them if he's in terminal velocity, which doesn't happen all the time. But well, dex them easily. Obviously, you can dex most of them normally. But Spot is just a science nuke. I ranked him as a 5-star just because I was like, I'm gonna be waiting for the featured for a while. I want to test him out, and I've been loving playing this guy. He's so much fun to me, and he's really good. And he obviously probably won't get tuned down. I don't think he's tuned down worthy, but we'll see what happens with him in about a month. I could be a little biased with this guy because he is my personal favorite MCU villain. And in the game, he's really, he does a lot of damage. I'm going to put it that way. And in his current state, I'm recording this before his buff goes live. In his current state, he's got basically no utility, but when he gets buffed, his auto block counter is going to be really, like, maybe the best auto block counter in the entire game. Because you can have 100% duration of your Undermine for the entire fight just by doing a 4th light attack every 16 seconds. That includes the very, very beginning of the fight, because you're still going to start with the Undermine. It's definitely the best auto block counter in the entire game. And his damage is actually really good. I just put out a showcase on this guy. You should check it out. Just check it out. I believe this is number 7. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the cow. I don't like... I'm very picky with champions, and I can admit it. Like, there's so many good champions in this game that I just don't like, and Mooman is one of them. But he is really good. In short and medium fights. In longer fights, no. Don't use him. But in medium fights, he's just good. But in shorter fights, he's amazing. And maybe the best buff control in the game. I don't know. It's between him and Hood, in my opinion. Tigra does the same thing as Rinchero when it comes to neutralize, but hers is just a lot shorter. But, Moo. Next is my most wanted champion in the entire game, and it really hurts that I don't have him. Well, I'm sure most people don't have him, though, so I can't really complain. But, this is a good tech champion, he's a good tech champion, which is very important because the tech class sucks, dude. I know there's going to be people who are saying that every class is good in their own way, which is true, but tech class is by far the weakest in my opinion. And you get to the special 2, and the opponent's almost dead when you're doing him in a Battlegrounds fight. I think he's going to be phenomenal in Battlegrounds. Of course, he's a good bishop counter, he's a good kitty counter. Well, he's a perfect bishop and kitty counter, not just good. But and in other fights, he's still going to be very good. He's got wonderful power control, and he's just a solid tech champ. One of the best, in my opinion. So this is my 5th and newest rank 4. And I underrated this champion when she first came out. And that's been a thing that just happens a lot with deep dives and things like that, where you just underrate the champ. And then when they come out, you're just like, wow, he or she is amazing. And that's the case with Valkyrie, in my opinion. I thought she was good when she first came out, but dude, she's phenomenal. She's got wonderful, absolutely amazing utility if you have her awakened and at a decently high sig. But even if you don't, you're gonna have a nuke in most shorter content. And if you have a nuke, you don't even always need utility. So that's Valkyrie. Number 4 is a Mega Sentinel, and this is my favorite tech champ in the game. She has maybe the most utility out of everyone from this year. You can place a Cowardice, which shuts down a few champs the entire fight. You can heal block the champs the entire fight. You can prevent miss the entire fight. You've got an amazing auto block safety net, which happens quite often, honestly. And you've got ridiculous long fight damage, and then in short and medium, it's still really good because, you know, a lot of champs have problems where you don't have good damage at all until you get to the special 2. But having the highest base attack in the game, that changes that, and she does have good damage before you get the special 2 just because of how hard your basic hits are hitting. And I just think she's a really good champion. She definitely shouldn't have been tuned down like people were thinking she might have been when Rebalance was supposed to come out. Number 3 is Hulkling, and he's a absolute nuke fest. Him and Torch, my most banned champs in Battlegrounds. And I think Gallon would be one of them, but I have a Gallon, so I'm not going to do that. And the problem with Hulkling, the only reason I don't like him is because I don't think he has utility at all. the only utility he has is an immunity, which is you could call an immunity a utility. I personally don't, but I wouldn't blame you if you would. But his immunities are amazing for so many matchups, and he just does so much damage, and that's why he's number 3. Galen is Hulkling, but slightly quicker. And that's it. And yeah, first is Scorpion. Scorpion is amazing without the Venom synergy, and then completely broken ridiculous with the Venom synergy and every piece of content in the entire game. He completely destroys it all, and he has some amazing utility to go with it, and that's why he's number 1. And once you get to the number 1s on the list, you just have less and less to talk about, because obviously, well, not obviously, but I like to talk about negative things a lot more, and I'm sure a lot of people do. But that's Scorpion, and bye.